It's that time again. It's the podcast that takes your personal and professional life to a whole new level. Whether you're selling a product, selling a service, or selling yourself, one thing is for sure. You're always selling for life. Hey everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Selling for Life podcast, sponsored by Conoco Parts, a world of parts with a personal touch. And this podcast is about more than just selling stuff. We think if you stick around, you're going to get a lot out of it. I'm Steve, and I am truly flying solo today. Flew solo last week, and we brought you Zig Ziglar. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about starting a business, some business tips, business starting tips, some things that you should think about, specifically when it comes to debt, and what you should probably consider before getting into the business world. And I'm going to be speaking from experience. Al, Ryan, and Ben, they're all off today. There's a lot going on at Conoco Parts, and so they are super, super busy, and were not able to join us today. But as they say in show business, the show must go on. So I'm going to bring something to you, and we'll make it kind of quick. We're not going to spend a ton of time, but again, if you stick around, I think you're going to get something out of this. So I've had a pretty good week. It's been pretty busy here at Conoco. Again, they are really there's a lot going on here. They've hired some new people, and we have actually now hit the 50 employee mark. And as the law dictates, we have to offer health insurance, and that's what they're doing here at Conoco now. That's going to be coming up, I believe, next month, and that's a huge step for this company. Again, we started with just a few people when I was here, and there's only about 5, and now we again hit the 50 employee mark, and that's just amazing. And it just is a testament to what these guys do with their business and how they run things, and they continue to learn. There's a lot of growing pains as they move along, but they continue to work really hard. And as I said, I do have a business on the side. It's a photography, videography business for weddings, and I have learned a lot over the last 3 years that I've been running it. And one of the biggest things that I learned, unfortunately a little too late, was how to finance the launching of my business, how to go about getting the capital necessary to start the business when it comes to buying equipment, setting up a website, marketing, etc., all the things that come along with that. And the overhead for my business is really not that much. Need a few cameras, need a website, again, some marketing, generating some leads. First, I started out on Thumbtack, and then I eventually started to pay for a subscription with Wedding Wire. I'm on both the Wedding Wire and the Knot, and it's worked out really well. But unfortunately, I did not listen to advice when I first started. In fact, I didn't really get much advice at all, which is probably the first tip that I have for anybody looking to start a business is get some advice from people who have started businesses before and find out what they did so you don't repeat the mistakes they made. And of course, research as much as possible, and you research the business that you want to start and the market that you're in. Do a lot of analysis before you get into anything. You don't just put up a "we're open" sign on your front door and expect things to run smoothly. You have to do your due diligence and make sure that you're doing the right things in the right way. And so I really want to talk about debt, and I really wanted Ryan in here to talk a little bit about it with me, but again, he's very busy. So what I do want to say is, whether it's you're starting a business, whether it's anything at home, whether it is really anything that has to do with money, try to finance as little as possible. And in fact, if you can get by without credit cards, without loans, you should be able to if you manage your money properly. That is the best way to go. What I did, so I'll just tell you what I didn't do right, and then hopefully you will not do the same things, is I went ahead and I got 3 credit cards. And the credit limits were all $10,000. And so I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and buy the best equipment available so I can have high quality wedding videos and photography. I'm going to spend a lot of, decent amount of money on my website. I'm going to float credit so I can get some leads in and generate business. And then, of course, what everybody thinks is to make money, you have to spend money. You go into debt so that down the line you can make the money and pay the debt off and move forward. And that certainly is a way you can go. And a lot of people do it that way. But let me tell you, if I could do it all over again, I would not have opened one credit card. What I would have done is saved some money first, which of course is what people don't like doing because they want to do things right now. And I was one of those people. I wanted to get my business started as quickly as possible. And instead of waiting maybe a couple years, save up a few, $1,000 and then start buying equipment and acquiring the things that I needed to run my business, I just jumped in with the credit, and I got everything right away, no doubt. Got some nice cameras, got my website going, started getting leads. But within a couple of years, I was in debt. And I told you what I opened the credit cards for. Well, let's just say that almost all of them are maxed out. And I am making minimum payments, and the business is generating enough money to do so. But if I had started this business, first of all, with money that I had saved, and then been much more frugal on the type of equipment I got from the beginning, without compromising the quality of my work, I could conceivably now be having a nice income to supplement my main income, because I do work full-time, and I wouldn't have to worry about any debt. And that would have been a fantastic way for me to go. And so what I could have done and what I should have done is just rent equipment as my jobs came in, and then save on the side, and then purchase equipment of my own as I was able to. And then by now, I would have had all the equipment I needed, and I would not be spending $600, $700, $800 a month paying back my credit. Instead, that would be going into my pocket, or of course back into the business. And that would have been the way to go. But I didn't do that. And if I had somehow, some way come across somebody with some advice on what I just said, I would be in much better shape right now. So as you are looking to start a business, of course, you have to put together a business plan. Again, you have to research the market. You have to know what you're getting into before you get into it. You have to really do a lot of soul searching on whether you are the type of person to run a business. Once you have decided you are ready to jump in to being a business owner, you must be very careful and frugal when it comes to the financing of that business, because you can set yourself up to fail financially really quick. I believe my business will most certainly survive and continue to grow, and eventually I will have that debt paid off. But again, I could have been in a position where my wedding business was supplementing my full-time job really nicely had I not taken on so much debt. Now, of course, that's the way society works today. We are a loan and debt-orientated society. Everybody is borrowing. Everybody is charging. Everybody has debt of some kind, and everybody has just accepted it as the way life is, and it really doesn't have to be that way. I encourage anybody to look up Dave Ramsey if you don't know who he is already. He is someone who rails against the system of banks and credit and has some tremendous advice and life lessons that we can really benefit from. As for Conequid Parts, they do not believe in operating with credit. They do not have a credit line of any kind. Now, of course, they do take credit cards from customers, and they operate as a business the way really any business can operate, and that is by using the system of credit. But as for their operation, they do not take out loans, and it's based on biblical principles and personal experiences that they've also had with debt. So that's one thing that Conequid does, and I really believe it's the way to go. Debt can really, truly turn your life upside down. It can keep you awake at night. It can give you panic attacks. So right now I want to turn to Dave Ramsey and want you to listen to what he says about what you have, who you have to be, and what you have to be like to get out of debt. Check it out.
People call in on my radio show, they're getting out of debt, and they say, I'm getting out of debt. They have this thing in their voice that tells me that they're going to make it. And then the others they call in, they're like, well, dude, sort of kind of like maybe this strategy, and maybe it'll work sort of maybe. So what sort of do you do? I'm like, well, I can't help you. Call me back. I didn't know what it was, but I said, like, call me back when you're mad or something, you know? You got to get that thing going, you know? And I couldn't put my finger on it, and I was reading through Scripture one morning, and I hit Proverbs 6, 1 through 7. And it says, if you've signed surety, my son, which is Old English Bible talk for got yourself in debt. If you've gotten yourself in debt, do this. Now, I teach people how to get out of debt, and I wanted to get out of debt, and so I saw a do this, and my little ears went, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because I had a spiritual experience a few years ago. I discovered God is smarter than me. And when he says, you're here and you don't want to be here, so do this, I'm listening for what comes after that. That's a big deal. If you're in debt, biblically, do this. Give no sleep to your eyes, no slumber to your eyelids, and deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. And I promise you, it's not very reverent, but I promise you, I went, great, gazelles. What am I going to do with gazelles? Great little animal metaphor, talk about it in Sunday school, but I mean, how are you going to talk to people about gazelles and debt? This doesn't. That night, God answered my prayer. I was scanning the channels, and I hit the Discovery Channel. And there on the Discovery Channel, there was the gazelles. They were out there gazelling around. And what were they doing? Well, I said, well, you know, here it is. There's the gazelles. And you know the gazelles were not there by themselves, right? You know somebody else was around, right? Looking for lunch in all the right places. And gazelles, they have a cheetah detector right behind their ear. When they see a cheetah, they go like, uh-oh, cheetah, run! Now, the Discovery Channel said that the cheetah is the fastest animal on dry land. We had to slow this down so I'd have time to talk. He goes from 0 to 47 miles an hour in 4 leaps. Now, it's starting to come clear to me. Here's how you get out of debt. You deliver yourself like the gazelle from the hand of the hunter. The primary predator of the gazelle is the cheetah. Here's how you get out of debt. You run! You gotta bust it! You gotta, look, he picked out the college student, didn't he? Hey, you want a free hat? Hey, I'll give you a t-shirt. Just sign up for this credit card. You want a pizza? Hey, come here, kid. You need to build up your FICO score. Come here, kid. That's how you get out of debt. You got to run, baby. You got to put it in gear. You got to go, 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 go. Kick it, baby. Kick it. You know how long we had to look for a clip where he gets away? The truth is that the cheetah doesn't catch the gazelle but 1 in 19 times, and yet he can outrun him. Isn't that weird? What a great metaphor. Cheetah's after your family. Run! This is how you get out of debt. You pop it. Around our place, we find out that people get out of debt when they get gazelle intensity. When they quit caring what their broke friends think and their family who needs counseling thinks. They quit worrying about everybody else's opinion about what they drive. And they amputate the $40,000 Tahoe. And they're driving a hoopty. A piece of junk. They're going to drive like no one else so that later they get to drive like no one else because they want to change their family tree. They want to send their kids to college. They want to change how their grandkids live and their great-grandkids live. A godly man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. They want to change and they get fired up. When you get fired up, you'll get out of debt. You can wander into debt, honey, but you can't wander out.
Gazelle intensity. I highly encourage you to check out the Dave Ramsey website and possibly even get enrolled in one of his Financial Peace University classes. So that will wrap it up for our 10th Selling for Life podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. You can email us at contact@sellingforlife.com. Check out our website at sellingforlife.com. I think you can get some good stuff off of there. Until next week, remember, whether you're selling real estate or you're trying to convince your uber pregnant wife she really doesn't look that fat, one thing is for sure: you are always selling for life.